Hey everybody, Mike Barr here. It's been a while since I've posted a video, but I wanted to take a little bit of time today and discuss a few things. It is the day before Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone has got a great holiday ahead of them, and I hope everybody gets a chance to spend some really good quality time with family. That to me is one of the most important things in most of our lives. All of us, family is it. Um, so again, I hope everybody has a great holiday. Um, One of the things I wanted to talk about was the fact that as an industry, we have gotten to a point. Well, we've gone over 50 days that we know of without a SIF, a serious injury or fatality. It's been a long time since that happened. I'm not even sure that it ever has happened. I've been kind of going back and trying to look and see. I don't know that we've gone 50 days as an industry that without that occurring, without a SIF occurring. So how did we accomplish it? How did we get where we're at when we're typically averaging, a SIF every 11 days, a fatality almost every 11 days? Historically, how did we get to 50 days? Are we getting better? Is it luck? I don't know. I'd like to think that we're finally getting to a point where we're just more aware of the hazards, and because of all the things that have been happening, we're finally getting to a point where we're doing better, where we're better at avoiding these oversights and shortcuts that occurred in the past. I just don't know that that's true or not, but that's what I'd like to think. I think we're getting better. Whatever the reason is, I think that we have to be very careful, because this is where I think that it's really easy to let our guard down, and it's really easy to become complacent. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. I've talked about complacency in the past, we just got to be really careful about that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about an article that I read a while back, and it addressed a report that was put out by former Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld, and he broke our hazards down into four kind of unique perspectives. And he called them known hazard, unknown known hazards, known unknown hazards, and unknown unknowns. And I just was really fascinated when I read the title, and I started to look at this, and it all really makes good sense to me. So he starts out with these known hazards, and everybody knows what that is. Of course, these are hazards that they're known by the workers, and they're known by management, and it's things we're familiar with, and we performed work in and around these hazards, these at-risk situations, many times with no adverse effect, no negative outcome. And I look at, as an industry, of course, we do a lot of work around energized lines and equipment, and it's our number one cause of fatality and injury in our industry is contact. So always has been, probably always will be. That is a known risk, but yet we work around those. We successfully perform work around in those conditions over and over and over again. And we become used to it, and we come to accept the risk of working around lines, energized lines and equipment as normal. This, to me, and according to this report that Donald wrote, was that this acceptance of these risks has in effect increased the risk that the worker is under because of how comfortable we get around that risk. And so it really does over time enhances the likelihood of a negative outcome or contact, and that is a form of complacency that we have to be looking out for. The second one he talks about is the unknown known risks and those are the risks that a particular worker has not encountered before and doesn't expect to encounter in that particular task or circumstance. And therefore, the worker is going to do his job and work without the expectation of being exposed to those kinds of hazards. And as I read that one, I think about that. I go out and I teach a lot of grounding classes, and I take my simulators with me, like the ones you can see in the background, and it's still remarkable to me how many qualified journeyman line workers that there are out there that still there's two things that I find remarkable. One is that I can ground a line between me and the source, and that will prevent current from reaching the work site. And it's just simply not true. And also, the second thing is that they believe that induction is a trapped charge, that I can ground a line and it dissipates, it's gone. And again, that's a myth. It just simply doesn't happen that way. So when and I've investigated several accidents where there's been an injury and fatality where the lines have been grounded, and during either removal or getting in between a conductor, removing a jumper and getting between two different potentials, we've had fatalities. And you've got crews that stand there and they have no idea what went wrong. They never expected to see any kind of anything that could harm them there because the lines are de-energized, tested, and grounded. But yet we still have the fatalities. So to me, that is a unknown known. And it's just something that is still occurring, and we got to do a better job of making sure that people understand induction. Okay, so the third one he talked about was the known unknowns. Those are risks that are taken on many of our crews by not making an effort to truly assess the risks and planning the work properly, selecting the means and methods, and procuring, the equipment and setting up the job. And I think about this one, and not too long ago, some of you may remember there was a fatality that occurred where a crew rolled up on a job, and one of the workers just jumped on the digger derrick and raised the boom up. He was going to swing around and start taking material off the trailer, the material trailer that he was pulling behind the digger, and he just took that boom right up into the line. This was before any type of job briefing was done, before any assessment was done, and of course, because the truck wasn't grounded, the truck caught fire when the individual tried to get off. He was touching the truck and the ground at the same time, and of course, it killed him. So, there's crews that over and over and over again that start the work before that proper assessment is done. And what's happening, of course, is we have crews that start work knowing that there are risks and basically just expecting the this safety function to find them and somehow deal with them without affecting that process, that production process. And Rumsfeld, he likened this to like putting a bullet into a cylinder of a revolver and then spinning that cylinder and pulling the trigger and fully expecting nothing to happen. So that was the third one. And then he talks about the unknown unknowns. And those are probably the most dangerous. These are the ones that, and I hear this over and over again. These are the ones that after an accident occurs, everybody is scratching their head, muttering, wow, what happened? This should never have happened. And I hate this term. And I've heard it over my career over and over and over again. And that's this, where we refer to an incident like this as a freak accident. And of course, these are risks that were present, but were not discovered or ignored due to some circumstance or just pressure, right? And so those are the four things. And again, to me, guys, this is, I've heard this, particularly during an incident with induction. I've heard this. It was a freak accident. This should never have happened. The line was grounded. What the hell happened? Guys, we got to do better at understanding, induction and how you effectively, make that work area safe when it comes to induction. But I hear this all the time. Oh, it's just freak accident. There's no such thing in my mind as a freak accident. So anyway, I just want to make sure that we're all looking out for some of these signs of complacency, and there are many signs that we can look for in order to try and control the creation of that culture. And of course, once that culture creeps in, then of course we've always got adverse effects from it. So one sure sign that complacency is becoming a problem is when we got guys that stop being actively engaged, not only in their work but safety policy, and not asking questions. Not seeking clarification, not offering suggestions in any way, not trying to improve the process. When we've got crews that just stop engaging, then that's a sure sign of complacency. And there's many reasons why people do that. And one of the main ones is that people are afraid of being labeled as obstructive. And not being a team player, not willing to challenge authority, and being fearful of being, pegged as a troublemaker. So that's a big problem. Another true, very clear sign that we've got complacency, of course, is disengagement. Kind of the same thing. We just do enough to get by. And, people just stop taking the initiative to solve problems and working cooperatively. Sure sign of complacency. It's very easy to see people lose their passion for their responsibilities, and they just don't get excited about their work anymore, and learning and wanting to lead and become, they don't want to lead, they just become a follower. And of course, when that happens, we get very unproductive, and we underproduce, and it just can spread through the whole crew. So that's another sure sign of that. So obviously, we've talked about in the past. Another one, of course, is when we take shortcuts. We stop being detail oriented, and and over time, some people just become lazy, and it becomes a disruption to the culture, to the work culture, and it certainly becomes a liability. So workers can tend to lose that incentive to take responsibility, and to take these reasonable risks to further their careers, and some of their goals. And sometimes this can really creep in, of course, too, when the work is very repetitive and becomes unchallenging. That's when complacency can definitely become a problem. So sometimes we just get people that employees just perceive that playing it safe is just in their best interest, and rather than being that active team member. And these are very strong warning signs, I believe, that they may be physically present, but mentally they've kind of checked out. So these are the things that we need to kind of look out for. So that's my message for the day, and I just honestly hope that we can continue this trend of no SIFs. Man, wouldn't that be great if we could get to 100 days, or 150 days? What if we went a whole year without a SIF? I truly believe at some point, of course, this is going to end. I don't want to say that it has to, but I'm not gonna hold out any false hope here that we've solved all these problems. I just hope we can continue it, and something is going right. We're still working. We still have people exposed to the same hazards that got us to the point where we almost expect a fatality pretty routinely about every 11 days. So something got us there, but something has got us to this 50 days as well. So and just remember, guys, as always, you're the last one to have the hands on it. You're the last one to have that chain of thought go through your mind on what got you where you're at, what you're about to do, and what that potential outcome is. So hold yourselves always to a higher standard, and never take the easy way out. Take the time and the energy, to do things right, and just make it a habit to again hold yourself to a higher standard. So again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope everybody has a great holiday, and talk to you again soon.